Hello. Yay, we're live. Hello. How are you? It is summer solstice. Yay. Um, I have just all of the things to share about summer solstice, about the new moon in Cancer, retrograde season, eclipse season. This is our bi weekly energy report. I do these every new and full moon. If you are new here, welcome. My name is Kelsey, and this is Igniting Insight. And I am here to reflect to you what it is that I see as an intuitive astrologer and tarot card reader in the sky and hopefully help you navigate these energies a little bit better. So, um, I want to start by acknowledging the solstice. Here in the northern hemisphere where I live, it is summer solstice. It is the first day of summer. It is the longest day of the year. It is also aligned with the beginning of Cancer season, which is where we have a lot of focus over the coming month. But really, it's been a focus for it'll be a focus all year, and it has been, and I'll go into that a little bit in a minute. But it's interesting. I actually just had a beautiful circle this evening, so some of you may have heard me share and talk about the circle that I was hosting for the summer solstice. So we did have that tonight. It was such a beautiful community experience. It just filled me up, and I know it filled the women up that were in circle with me. And I think what came up to me in my awareness during the circle was really this polarity we have between the fact that us in the northern hemisphere are having summer solstice, and those in the the southern hemisphere are having winter solstice. And we have this juxtaposition between the light, the sun, and the darkness, or which could be represented as the moon. And really, our theme in Circle tonight was the juxtaposition and the polarity, and also the unity between masculine and feminine energies. It's something I talk about and I'm really interested in. I talk about it a lot. So I do see this as a theme right now, not just because of summer solstice, but also because of what's coming through for Cancer season and what I'm just intuitively sensing in the collective. So, hi, Casey. So first of all, I want to talk about retrograde season. So, I am pretty sure that it is usually around April, May that retrograde season starts in a given year, and it kind of varies year to year. But right now we have Mercury, Venus, Saturn, Jupiter, and Pluto all in retrograde. And it's retrogrades are, the easiest way to think about them, I would say, is it's a time to reflect and reassess. And obviously, we have many planets in retrograde, which means we're doing this in many areas of our life. And I think we can see this both individually and on a collective level. There is a lot happening in our world. There is a huge civil rights and social justice movement happening that, I feel like it's been a long time coming, and it probably should have surfaced in this way sooner. And yet, we have the opportunity now, those of us that are kind of just seeing the depth and the intensity of things maybe for the first time, or maybe just more of us are seeing it in this way now. It's a way that these retrogrades can actually be viewed as a collective period of reassessment, and we're really kind of reflecting on our past, especially here in the United States, reflecting on our journey as a humanity, as a collective, as a country, and, you know, what we have been doing and how we would like to move forward. So retrogrades aren't a bad thing. A lot of Mercury retrograde especially gets a bad rap, but it is not a bad thing to slow down. It's probably our masculine patriarchal paradigm that makes us believe that it's a bad thing to slow down, but when we tune into our feminine and we realize that we do need to be in flow, we do need to allow ourselves to release and to feel and to be embodied and you know, all of the things that the feminine represents, you know, the retrograde is really a chance for us to tap into those parts of us, and they help us clarify the direction we want to move forward once, you know, things start to build momentum again. So just, I guess, I wrote down all the dates because I think it's helpful to kind of know. So Mercury has just gone retrograde the 17th if you're on the Pacific coast like I am, or the 18th for most of us. Venus has been retrograde from May 13 and will go direct on June 25th. But before Venus goes direct, Neptune is also going retrograde on the 22nd or 23rd of June. So we're going to then have 6 planets in retrograde, which is just a lot. And each one is bringing its own energy and its own potential, right? So it's just important and powerful to be aware of these things. They're all going to affect us on an individual level differently depending on where it's hitting your chart. And I don't think I'm going to take too much time today to go into each individual one, except I did want to mention Saturn. So Saturn has been retrograde since May 10th or 11th, depending where you're at, and will go direct or move forward again on September 29th. It's currently at 0 degrees of Aquarius, and it will be going backwards into Capricorn on July 2nd. So Saturn spends about 3 years in a sign. So up until recently, we had this Saturn in Capricorn energy. Saturn is the ruling planet of Capricorn, and so this means that the energy was really enhanced, and it's really what rules our governments. Capricorn energy can be really positive because it's how we can have structure and systems that allow us to make better progress in our lives, you know, so that we have something in place that we can then move forward within. On a personal level and on a collective level as well. But as we've seen, some of these systems can be broken. Hi, Kim. And so I believe that this Saturn in retrograde, it's been in Aquarius. Aquarius is all about like revolution, right? Which is really what I feel like we're seeing. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens around July 2nd, because we could see a shift from this more like this approach of freedom to really going back and looking at the systems more systemically, I want to say, to use that word again. I think it's a good time where we might, you know, collectively be really examining our governments with even more of a fine-tooth comb, and maybe even seeing some ways that we can actually implement new systems. Do you want to come in? It's my daughter. It's Horizon. Hi. She's coming to join. Do you need something? Do you want to just stay with me? Okay. Do you want to stay with me? Hang out? Okay. Mommy's talking and rambling for a minute about all of the things. So yeah, it'll just be really interesting to see what happens around that time. And again, just be mindful. Like, one thing I'm seeing that's really unfortunate is people not ready to understand why a revolution is happening, and not being able to get on board and being really resistant to the changes and feeling like they already know everything they need to know. I mean, just to speak into that for a second, if you are not open to learning new things or new information or new perspectives, you're really effectively stunting and stopping your growth, which as a really growth oriented person, to me, just I don't understand why you would want to do that. I think most of us do want to grow and evolve. And so it's just something to be mindful for, ask yourself if you are open to new information and new ideas, or if you aren't. But I think if you have people in your life, potentially, you're wearing my glasses. That's cute. If you have people in your life that you're trying to talk to about some of these things that you're seeing, and maybe they're resistant or not listening, potentially July 2nd will be a better time to have some breakthroughs, because I think anyone that has a hard time with Aquarian energy, which I am an Aquarius sun, so that doesn't apply to me. Anyone that has a resistance to this like revelation or this like, it's like chaotic change or disruption, it can be. So if anyone in your life has issue with that and you're having trouble breaking through to them to really inform them, and it's somebody that you care about, potentially waiting till after July 2nd, you could have the ability to maybe have some more breakthroughs with them, or they could just be open to hearing information in a different way. You have some other glasses? You're so cute. Let's see. Okay. So the other really key piece is moving into really this new moon in Cancer. We've just entered Cancer season. So literally the sun moved into Cancer at 8:44 p.m. Pacific time today, June 20th. And the new moon solar eclipse is exact at 11:41 p.m. Pacific time today. So not even 3 hours after the sun has moved into Cancer, we have this new moon, which also means we're going to have another new moon in Cancer in about a month on July 20th. So the energy of the new moon today is going to be amplified. It's going to be echoed in a month's time. So whatever is coming to you now will be echoed again in about a month. And because there's two new moons, it gives us double the chance to manifest new things. New moons are all about new things, new beginnings, new starts, new potentials in the area of our lives that is ruled by Cancer. So if you know your chart and you know what house Cancer is in, definitely look there and see what area of your life. But really, to speak into Cancerian energy as a whole, it's really associated with like home life, family life, nurturance. It's often like involves our family and our kids, especially close relationships with us. And I think that is a big part of Cancer, but I always like to look at how a sign relates to me as an individual. And I think what comes to mind with Cancer is it's about self-nurturance, really taking care of ourselves, really understanding our needs and making sure those needs get met, making sure that we feel safe and secure, making sure that we feel like we have like loving community around us. And a lot of that is how we show up ourselves, right? We think maybe it's about other people and what can other people do for us, but it's a two-way street, and it takes two, right, to develop in community. And so I wanted to pull some cards to kind of clarify this energy, and it was really interesting to see what came out. So I'm gonna hold up the little reading. I don't always pull cards with these, but sometimes I do. You want to see too? Kim says she likes those glasses. They suit you better, and I agree. Those are cool glasses. So the Queen of Wands was the first one that came out. I've been seeing her often, and just like, let's just look at her. Let's just acknowledge this powerhouse woman And the first word that came to mind when I saw her and when I usually see her is sovereignty. A big theme that we are all experiencing right now is sovereignty. And I don't think I'm going to go too deep into it in this video because it's such a big topic. But it really, again, it's not about anything external. It's about here. How are you feeling about yourself? How are you being? What do you believe about yourself in here? And you can create your own freedom, just in your mindset, in your emotions, in your way of being, in your way of believing. So sovereignty is all about us and how we believe in ourselves. Yes, the queens are on fire right now, says Casey. Yes, absolutely. And then we had the Seven of Cups, which is about making choices and having discernment. Oh, do you want to show yours? And Horizon pulled the Ace of Wands, which is more fire energy. And that's a new potential. So I like that too. But this is about that discernment, and to tie it into the Queen of Wands, I think it's again like having discernment about what feels empowering to you and what feels contracting to you, or what feels like you're giving your power away. And I think this part of Cancer season, like this self-nurturance and we've all been kind of in... It's interesting that in Cancer season, at least where I'm at, we're starting to move into like phase 1 or whatever of COVID. Like things are opening up, so people are, going to be out and about more, I think. But we've also been in this like isolation, quarantine kind of reality for a few months. Another one? Ooh, that's a good one. I just have a helper. Sometimes you just get help, and then it's great. We got the Lovers. That's great. But, so we have been at home, a lot of us, and we have had this opportunity to really tune in. So I'm not seeing Cancer energy as like, oh, let's just like hang out at home and like be with family and like feel good. That's what Cancer likes to do. But this is more about like really getting grounded in what we need and how we want to feel, and how we can feel empowered, and what choices, what is the discernment we're going to have to get ourselves there. And then the final card we got was the King of Pentacles, which he's really like, he's at home. He is Cancer. Even though he's Pentacles and Cancer is a water sign, he is definitely embodying the Cancerian energy of being at home, being really, again, grounded. The King of Pentacles is really grounded. Would you let me finish mine for right now? Is that okay? Thank you. But it's just, and he doesn't actually have people around him, but he does look very like in his power and sure of himself, and he has companionship in his animal, which I think could be significant. Maybe that's a message for some of you. But another thing I noticed is the two figures here on either side, there's a lot of red energy, and they're both sitting. So they're very rooted and grounded, again, and secure. So I almost feel like, well, actually, and it's interesting to note that the other reason that this Cancer season and these two Cancer new moons are going to be super powerful is because the North Node was in Cancer, but it's now in Gemini. I was going to say because the North Node is in Cancer, but I will say that because Capricorn is the opposite sign to Cancer, that's kind of where I'm seeing a lot of these like grounded, secure, like structured, sure of ourselves energy. And those oppositions, those signs that are opposite each other, really can complement each other. And we do have a lot going on in Capricorn right now. We have Saturn returning to Capricorn in retrograde on, again, July 2nd. We have Pluto and Jupiter both in retrograde in Capricorn. So there is a lot going on there. So I'm just seeing that these are kind of the two most important energies, and they have been for quite some time. Again, because the North Node was in Cancer for the last, I think it's about 18 months that it stays. So it just moved into Gemini recently. So these have just been big themes, and we get we get the chance to really ground into them. And kind of just more on an intuitive level, and I will wrap up here really shortly. You know, I did mention at the beginning of the live about the two summer solstices, how we have, or the two solstices, how we have summer in the north and winter in the south. And it's like this juxtaposition between the sun and the moon, the light and the dark. And actually a friend of mine channeled a message that she shared to Facebook about how when the light starts to rise up, the dark or the shadow rises up to try to squash it. And they kind of do this dance of trying to beat each other out, essentially. And so this is where we get to ask ourselves, you know, what do we believe is happening collectively and individually? And what do we believe is possible? And that's, again, where I think sovereignty can really come in, because if you're really attuned to like what's happening on a mass scale, and if you see kind of the powers, and I don't like to go into this too much, but like the powers of darkness being the matrix, being like these control systems that we have. Obviously, systemic oppression is a real thing, and we are actively dismantling it, both within ourselves and without. But, you know, it's a good chance to take a look at what you believe. Do you believe that this is a struggle? Do you believe that things are hopeless? Or do you believe that it's certain that, you know, we on the side of the light are going to prevail and win? And I'm definitely on that side where I believe, you know, the battles are already won, and that's what allows me to kind of keep moving forward all the time. But I think it's just, and then at the new moon is a good time to spend time in reflection. And so, you know, having ritual or journaling exercises around, like, you know, in my heart of hearts, what's going on, what's present for me, you know, what beliefs are there, what thoughts are there, what, are these mine or were these given to me? What am I afraid of? What am I hopeful about? And just tune into yourself and your own truth and figure out what is there. The more we know what's inside of us, the better we can make decisions, the more discernment we can have, right? So we just get to know what it is there. So that's, I think, where I'm going to leave this video. On that note, starting soon, probably starting in July, I'm going to do another Facebook Live series that will be more of a regular basis, you know, structured, you know, a specific time that you can schedule if you want to tune in. And we're going to be doing more of this like deeper mindset work, as well as this deeper spiritual work. So if you're interested in that, you know, just stay tuned. I'll definitely be talking and announcing more about it before we start. But I do feel really called to kind of serve in that way, where I'm not just talking about the thing, but I'm actually like telling you and giving tools about how to do the thing. So that will be coming, and I'm excited about that. But otherwise, yeah, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope something in here, you know, resonated or pinged for you and you got it. I think Horizon wants to share the last card she drew. Do you want to share it? Okay. They can see it, and then they can't quite see it, so hold it up a little higher. It is it the Two of Wands? The Two of Wands, more fire, having your vision. I mean, this is literally what we've been just talking about right now. What do you believe is possible? What do you see out there? What's in here? And then what do you see out there because of what's in here? And then once you are clear on that, then you change in here so that what you see out there gets to shift as well. So thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you at the next full moon, if not sooner. And if you need any support with any of this navigating, of course, always reach out. I'm here. Otherwise, I will see you soon. Bye.